Hi, Peter. Alex Elaine here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good, good.
Perfect. Great to meet you, and let me know how you're hoping I can be helpful.
Absolutely. So I'll get straight to it. So just, followed you on LinkedIn. I'm quite a new sales leader. So I've got a team of 10 at the moment, so head of new business at a fintech. Essentially, we're entering Q3 with quite a ambitious target, but definitely achievable. We're pretty much halfway there. And I wanted to pick your brains about how, what would kind of be the key priorities for you in terms of focus. So we've got 6 weeks left of the quarter, halfway to target. We've got more stuff to move to contract. I've got a team of high performers and essentially 2 weaker ones. So I really wanted to pick your brains about what your key priorities would be, what system you would use now to kind of prioritize your time to make sure we're essentially finishing the quarter strong.
Yeah, it's a great question. Just help me understand if you were answering your own question right now, as in tell me what you are doing right now and what you are prioritizing.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your current way of working.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, like everything I think you learned about revenue first. So I've got the list of deals which are going to plug our gap per rep. And we've got clear next steps, risk factors, how we're going to mitigate those. So that's the first priority. And then per rep, essentially, I have my notes, okay, how am I going to get the most out of them? We have got 2 weaker performers who we're having to mitigate their targets and try to essentially push my stock performers with a few more deals, and they have got the pipeline to do it to offset that. And just for context, those two will be on a PIP going September. But essentially, the rest we're trying to lift up the deals, how we can get the most out of them trading wise, what's going to plug the gap. Essentially, so that's kind of from both the people and revenue perspective is how I've tackled the problem so far. But I know there's probably a more effective framework that I could use rather than just say, okay, this is the skill gap, this is the deal gap. It's probably a better way I could organize my thinking.
Got it. And just for my reference, in terms of the current framework, if any, are you guys leveraging any form of framework or criteria, or is this just based on your not know-how and experience to date?
Yeah, so just based on my know-how, my team's quite fresh. I've had it for 2 quarters. They've uploaded at the start of this year. So I've tackled the problem from basically a personal perspective, like people management, getting the most out of them, and always obviously as a manager supporting them in the best way I can, and just these are the key deals, these are the risk factors. So yeah, there's no framework that I've used. I've more tackled it from revenue and a people perspective.
Got it. And just one other question. If I went up to your team independently and asked all six of them to walk me through the way that they operate from a sales excellence standpoint and from a overall prioritization standpoint and professional operating system standpoint, would they all be synergistic in their answer? Would they all share the same DNA and how they would respond to me?
Yeah, so we've kind of got two things we use as a team. So revenue generates tasks over everything. So that's meetings every day. So they're always prioritizing revenue generating tasks, and we essentially do lists. Okay, these are my revenue generating tasks. That's the most of my time will need. And sort of a full kind of, we say our motto that we use training wise, which is outwork, out improve, out strategize, and outlast. So kind of that's the ethic of the team, and that's kind of how we work. So revenue generation first, and then we've got the kind of team pillars. So they would give you that answer if you ask them. That's kind of what I feed to them anyway, and they're on board with that. So yeah, that's kind of how we operate.
Okay, I understand. So this is what I'm hearing so far. What it sounds like is you've done a great job in being the inspirational leader and the being able to give them some form of semblance of what is important. So from a prioritization standpoint, it sounds like they will have some good initial rationale about how they should be thinking, how they should be prioritizing their workload. What it feels like to me is the next level for you and the team is for you to start to lean into the operational aspect of leadership. So when we talk about the systems and the frameworks, it's crucial because you need to have some form of operational barometer for what does excellence look like in terms of the way you generate pipeline, in terms of the way you structure your day, and in terms of the way you execute a deal. And with the absence of that, it's really difficult, one, to have accountability, but two, to create enough momentum and groundswell, especially midway through the quarter. So the question then becomes, okay, well, what can you specifically do about that? The first thing is to choose a proven qualification criteria or a proven framework for your execution. Don't try and reinvent the wheel at this stage. So for example, without me knowing the nuance of what you sell, you could take Medic, for example. Are you familiar with Medic? Yeah. Okay. So you could take that, for example, as a framework just to help you to create a uniform way that your team can leverage for deal reviews and deal inspections. So that will mean that they need to be able to deliver the metrics that matter in the deal, unpacking who is the true economic buyer in the deal, decision-making process, criteria, implication of pain, champion, and beyond. So that could be just an interesting thing for you to look at initially. But then I would say that the other part of what you need to spend time on is standards of excellence across those three categories that I described, but not at an inspirational level of these things are important, but very specifically, these are the metrics, KPIs, and operating standards that deliver this result. Fall below it, you're not going to get to plan. Overachieve, and you overachieve, right? So I'll pause there. How much of that resonates?
Yeah, I think that does resonate very well. So that's exactly like where I want my priority to be now. So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with, I've managed to take a team that was, the morale was very low when I took over. We have a great activity level, kind of lots coming into work, and the inspirational side of it in terms of people management is there. We're always working on that. I need this practical framework where I would define exactly what excellence looks like in a category, and how I don't necessarily send yet, but in terms of the way you described it, definitely a key priority. So I think that resonates really well.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, look, as with all of these things, there's order of magnitude, right? It's the same way if I'm talking to a rep and they say that they're, good at, or they need to establish pain. And then they come back and they talk about deal friction and they say, well, I established pain. And then I say to them, well, did you establish what I call felt pain? Because they say there's 3 tiers to the level of pain, right? You can have surface level pain, which is, this is a nuisance or a challenge for a business. Whereas when we're talking about felt pain, is it, are we talking about the depth and level of transformation that warrants a company investing 10, 50, 100,000 or even multi-7 figures? And there's a different way we have to go about extracting that and inciting that and implicating that within an account. And it's no different with what I'm talking to you about here. There's being an operator, and then there's being a true operator. And I think it's probably that evolution for you of going from level 1 to level 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And any other way that can be helpful before we wrap?
No, I think just, like in terms of our personal question for you, obviously, you achieved so much in your career. I probably linked it, obviously, the journey. Is there any kind of key principles or characteristics that you have that you think have enabled you to do what you've gone to do?
Yeah, it's a great question. And first of all, thank you so much just for following and for the support. I really appreciate that. The reality is that from day one, I always had a grand vision. I never started my career with any level of comfort of being average, okay, or even great. I wanted to break records. I've always wanted to be number one, and I've wanted to do things with consistent pace and urgency. And so everything that I do, over the years has always had that. And I think the biggest separation factor I've found is that everyone claims to work hard. You walk into a room of sellers and you say, who works hard? And everyone's going to put their hand up. So then it becomes a case of who can make the effective decisions, but also who is truly in the trenches when the wind is blowing and the rain is coming. And that's been the big difference for me. It's been that when it's raining, my running shoes are still on and I'm out there. When, all adversity is against me in a deal or with my career, I'm still on the field and I'm looking at it head on and I'm marching forward. And that vision I had from day one was so grand and so great that I was just absolutely relentless about getting there, and I said to myself, I wanted to achieve X, Y, and Z, and every single day I was maniacal about it. So it's not me giving you any secret. I think it's more the case of you sound like you're really astute, put together. I can just hear it. I can sense it. So now it's like playing chess with your career. Make the right move at the right time and just do more than anyone else is willing to. And it just makes the success piece and the pace of your career growth inevitable.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I appreciate you running through that. And it's really good. I think food before that, certainly. I love it. Just working hard, but as you said, everyone claims to do it. You find out who the real hard workers are in times of adversity. So it's no, I really do appreciate you running through that, and there's definitely a lot of stuff for me to take away and try and implement. I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely, Peter. No, I think you sound great. Please keep me updated with your growth and progress, and thanks again for the support. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Yeah, appreciate it, Alex. Take care.
Anytime. Cheers now. Bye.